pleasure to serve under your chairship today for the first time, I believe. I'd like to congratulate my honourable friend, the member for Rutherglen and Hamilton West, on securing this very important debate today. A key missing component of a plan for the future of Scotland's economy is an appropriate, robust industrial strategy, which is what I aim to focus my remarks on today. Neither the UK Government nor the Scottish Government have a coherent strategy for industry in Scotland. As a result of this, Scotland's economy is declining. Economic growth has slowed well below its historical average. At 0.2% during the first quarter of 2018, figures released today. Real wages are lower today than they were in 2010, and closures continue. One of the areas that a lack of industrial strategy is very clear in is the construction sector. The recent collapse of Crummock, a construction firm in my constituency, Midlothian, whose closure led to the direct loss of almost 300 jobs, is the latest example. On that point.
Christine Jardine.
Thank you very much, and I thank the honourable member for giving way. Does the honourable member share my concern that as part of that industrial strategy which Scotland needs, it also needs a strong, well-functioning, delivering educational system, and that over the past decade what we have seen in Scotland is our education system undermined to the extent that 1 in 5 children in Scotland now leave school functionally illiterate?
Danielle Rowley.
I thank the honourable lady for her remarks and absolutely agree that education is a fundamental part of a growing industry in Scotland. But the collapse of Crummock in my constituency is just the latest example of deep problems surrounding the financial health and stability of the Scottish construction industry.
Honourable Lady speaking very well about the economic challenges which Scotland is facing, but does she agree with me that the economic challenges would be turned into complete misery for the people of Scotland if the SNP had their way and ripped Scotland out of the United Kingdom?
Yes. Thank the member for his remarks, and he'll know that I would agree with that. But focusing on the construction industry, the collapse of Crummock is just one of many that we've seen recently, with many job losses in Scotland. The closure of large employers like Crummock will have a significant impact on local economies. A number of suppliers and service providers have spoken to me about their worries. A small electrical company and a cleaning services facility have expressed to me their concerns about the future of their businesses following Crummock's closure. And such closures reflect the failure of an economic strategy which is over-reliant on free market forces, as well as an absence of joined-up government policy and action, especially in public procurement. For the last time.
Very kind of the honourable member to give way. You mentioned the lack of free market forces. Would you agree with your Shadow Chancellor when he says that he wants to overthrow capitalism and bring down Britain's system of free enterprise, meaning less jobs, less money to go into public services, and that would do untold damage to the Scottish economy? Do you agree with his position?
Through the Chair, I don't agree with any of that. I'll ask the honourable lady if she agrees with that. Danielle Rowley.
Thank you, Mrs Main. I think that overthrowing capitalism is a matter bigger than this debate, and perhaps we can debate it some other time. But Crummock's recent accounts noted that the absence of public sector contracts were the biggest risk to the future of the firm. This includes Scottish Government contracts and local authority contracts, which have been declining as local government budgets are slashed. This suggests the need for an investigation into the way that public institutions can best use resources available and better support the construction sector and indeed the wider industry in Scotland. It also suggests that the decline in council revenue funding overseen by the Scottish Government, which has fallen in real terms by 9.6% since 2010, is having a severe impact on Scotland's local economies. In contrast to this, Scottish Labour plans to invest in Scotland's economy. Labour policy would see £70 billion of investment in industry in Scotland. We would create a national investment bank that would see £20 billion of capital structured in Scotland for industrial strategy and investment. That is the scale that we need to be seeing invested to get to where our sector needs to be. We need to be investing to the tune of billions of pounds, not just the millions of pounds put forward by the SNP. Closures in the construction industry have also further highlighted the vital need to proactively plan for the sustainable development of our industrial base. Rather than simply reacting to market failure, we must plan ahead. And as part of this, the Scottish Government needs to properly investigate why well-established Scottish construction companies are collapsing. The focus of this investigation should include any changes to the way that banks are financing companies also. And we need to look at why it's taking so long for subcontractors to be paid by client companies. Another huge issue that's been highlighted to me. This investigation must also look at office-based workers and administration staff who are affected by construction sector closures. The construction industry already displays the largest gender pay gap, and once again, often female workers are disproportionately and adversely affected by the collapse of construction companies. Another area where there's clear need for a coherent strategy to support our economy is our struggling high streets. We need to look at mitigating the effects of RBS bank closures and post office closures. The Secretary of State for Scotland needs to work with the Scottish Government to develop an appropriate industrial strategy for Scotland, and both of our governments must work with and properly fund our local councils so that our local economies can be supported.
Before I call the next speaker, the wind-up start at